Coming up tonight on the season finale of Gridiron Glory, Eastern looks for their first ever regional title. Wheelersburg tries to capture their first regional crown since 2018. And Sheridan faces state powerhouse Steubenville.
Don't change the channel because I'm giving away this thing on the hour-long season finale of Gridiron Glory that starts right now. Hello and welcome into the Gridiron Glory Season 24 hour-long season finale. We have all 5 of our Player of the Year candidates in studio, and you'll get a chance to hear from all of them throughout the show. I'm your host, Grayson Wolf. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Along with our Player of the Year interviews, we have the Coach of the Year in studio. We'll reveal the 22 players on our All-GG team, recap all of our conferences, and Eastern, Wheelersburg, and Sheridan are all fighting for regional crowns and that coveted spot in the state semifinal. So I'm not wasting any more time. We kick off our finale where we like to, the Tri-Valley Conference. But before we get into the Region 27 title fight between Eastern and Caldwell, we're going to look back at the TVC Ohio with some help from TVC reporter Shane Scalfaro.
River Valley may not have had the season they were looking for, but they're looking to improve next season. After taking a couple steps backwards, Meggs and Alexander both ended the season at 2-8 and are both looking to improve with new quarterbacks at the helm. Wilson took a jump in the right direction, getting 4 wins on the season, and are going to work to keep moving forward. Athens also took a jump from 2 wins to 6 wins and has a young squad that will use the offseason to grow for a TVC Ohio title run. And these Bulldogs are going to be on the prowl. And while their domination continued till the end, Nelsonville York fell just short of a TVC Ohio title with a loss to Vinton County and ended the season 8-4. But they're going to retool with key seniors leaving. And Vinton County ended the season 9-2 and took down their rival NY to win their first title crown since 1999. With the seniors they have leaving, they're going to have a different squad to get up to shape for next year's title defense mission.
That's the first of 8 conference recaps we'll go through tonight throughout the show, but for now, let's get to a game. Eastern is in the midst of their greatest season in school history, and I need to know if it continued. So my guy Cameron Up is here to talk Eagle football one last time.
Yeah, Grayson, the Eagles came into tonight looking for their first regional title in program history. And after talking to Coach Jason Jackson and the boys last night, one thing is for sure, Reedsville is ready.
I want to give everything I've got. All my players want to give everything they've got to succeed for this community. We've worked so hard so Reedsville can finally hold up a trophy after 20 years.
These guys rank right up in there with the best of them, and not just as athletes or football players, but as human beings.
Now it's just wartime. It's time to go to war and take care of what we need to take care of to bring back the trophy.
The battlefield is Warrior Stadium in Vincent. The enemy is the Caldwell Redskins, and the prize is a regional title. First drive of the game, Caldwell gets some good starting field position, and they take advantage. They give us to Ethan Crockett. He brings it over the goal line for the opening score. Eastern's defense would find a groove in their second opportunity, though. Mason Merkham pushes right through the line. He's into the backfield to make the sack. Caldwell is forced to punt. Ensuing drive, and Riley Barrett gets it on the stretch here. He's got a flock of Eagles in front of him, and he's in there for the touchdown to tie the game at 7. Not to be outdone, Tyler Hill decides it's his turn. Here he makes his way to the sideline, shrugs off a couple of Redskin defenders before he's finally forced into your living room. That's enough for an Eagle first down. A few plays later, he finishes it off. He wills his way over the goal line for the touchdown. Eastern would take a 13-7 lead into the half. But Caldwell would score 2 touchdowns in the second half, and the Eagles' season ends in a heartbreaker by a final score of 20-19.
So Eastern with a tough loss, and Cam, it seemed like they were in control in the first half. What did Caldwell do to flip the script in the second?
Yeah, Grayson, they just caught some bad breaks at the end tonight. Grayson, after scoring the first touchdown of the second half, it looked like the Eagles were in the driver's seat, but a mishandled snap on an Eastern punt halfway through the second half was a turning point in the game. The Redskins were able to turn this miscue into a touchdown of their own just 2 plays later to bring the game within a score. After forcing a turnover of their own, Eastern failed to put together the necessary first downs to milk the clock and were forced to punt. On their ensuing drive, Caldwell was able to go over the top for a 30-yard touchdown pass to win the game.
With this loss, it means the end of the line for some great seniors.
Grayson, this program will graduate arguably the greatest senior class in their history, including Brandon Oldacre and Riley Barrett. Coming into tonight, Oldacre had accumulated 122 tackles, 16 of them for a loss, and 12 forced fumbles. Barrett rushed for 1,425 yards and 21 touchdowns. These two seniors can be proud of the legacy they leave behind at Eastern.
Yeah, Cameron, tough loss for the Eagles, but like you mentioned, that senior class saw some unprecedented success. And along with Eastern's great season, the TVC Hawking was a lot of fun this year.
Yeah, Grayson, we had a blast covering this conference this year. There was a 3-team race at the top of the conference, not to mention a Cinderella story in Region 27 and a regional championship berth.
The Belpre Golden Eagles improved this season by claiming their lone win of the year in the season finale at Clay Battelle in West Virginia. The Southern Tornadoes finished the year with a 3-7 record, which included a 49-point blowout of Belpre to keep them out of the basement. The Trimble Tomcats began the year with a win over their arch-rival in Nelsonville, York. Star performers in running back Xavier Cunningham and linebacker Cole Wright kept them in the conference race until the end, finishing third. The Waterford Wildcats finished second in the league despite a flurry of injuries. In the postseason, they became the Cinderella story of Region 27, reaching the regional semifinal as the 7th seed. The likes of Brandon Oldacre and Riley Barrett led the Eastern Eagles to their first TVC Hawking championship since the year 2000 after wins against Trimble and Waterford. Their 9-1 regular season record earned them their first ever #1 seed, and Jason Jackson's squad rolled through the playoffs to be one of just 3 Gridiron Glory squads remaining on finale night.
Our first Player of the Year candidate is a running back from an all-time storied program, playing with his brother and following in his father's legacy. Cade Wolford. Wolford racked up 1,778 yards from scrimmage on 10.2 yards per carry, scored 33 times, and led the Ironmen to yet another FAC title. So let's hear from the man himself. Zach Mothersbaugh and Cade Wolford now join us in studio.
Cade, thanks for being here, and congratulations on a fantastic season. Now, Jackson's offense was dynamic this year. They averaged more points on significantly less yards per plays from scrimmage than they did last year. When did you know this offense would click?
It's really just a product of our hard work in the offseason and keeping things dialed in at practice throughout the season, and that was the result.
Now, we've seen you on this show making top plays. What does it mean to get that? What does that versatility mean to your offense?
Versatility is a thing that I worked pretty hard on throughout my career. I think anytime you have guys in the offense who can do multiple things, it really just helps things run a lot smoother.
Now, Jackson fan support runs deep, and we know this. They're second in our van voting right now. What does it mean to be able to represent that community, and what does it mean to get that community support?
It's really incredible, you know, to look up in the stands on a Friday night, especially when you're about to run out of the helmet like we do, and to see pretty much the entire town behind you is a special feeling. And huge thanks to everybody at Jackson who's shown support throughout not only my entire career, but you know, I was on the sidelines when I was younger and everything, and I know football runs deep in Jackson.
And so what would winning this award mean to you?
It would mean a lot. It's an honor to even be here and a blessing.
And we mentioned that 10.2 yards per carry when Grayson was talking earlier. I mean, how do you guys get that? And can you talk about that three-headed monster you have on offense at the running back position?
Well, to start things off, it really all starts with the people up front. They got great movement this year and opened up holes for me to do what I do. And we had, you know, Eli and Nolan as well in the backfield. Unfortunately, Eli did go down with an injury, but yeah, that's 3 very talented running backs, and some teams, you know, if they decided to key on me, well, they had to deal with those other 2 as well. So,
Cade, I appreciate you a lot for being here, and that was a fantastic season you had.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Now, while Cade Wolford and Jackson dominated the Frontier Athletic Conference, some other schools had program-defining seasons, seeing success they hadn't seen ever. FAC reporter Grant Kiefer gives us the FAC recap.
Starting at the bottom, the Chillicothe Cavaliers had an uncharacteristically bad season for their standards, not winning a single conference game and finishing 1-9. This was Chillicothe's worst finish since 2009, when they also finished with just one win. However, Chillicothe has the right personnel and talent to bounce back next season and get that. Next up is McLean, who exceeded expectations for this season and found itself in a playoff spot for the first time ever. Despite bowing out in the first round, Andrew Potts and crew led a pretty impressive season. Moving forward, we go to Washington Courthouse, where the Blue Lions did not repeat last year's success, as they followed up a 9-3 season with a disappointing 5-6 campaign that finished with a first-round exit against Cincinnati, Wyoming. Staying in Courthouse, Miami Trace had a pretty successful season, finishing 3-2 in conference play and finishing 7-5 overall, with the highlight of its season coming in the first round of the playoffs when the Panthers pulled off an upset against Hamilton Township. Hillsborough bounced back big time this season, being led by second-year head coach Nathan Horn to finish 3-2 in FAC play and earn a playoff berth in Region 12. Finally, we look at the FAC champions, the Jackson Ironmen, who were led by GG Player of the Year candidate Cade Wolford to a 10-2 overall record and an undefeated record in conference play once again. However, Jackson had an early exit in the regional quarterfinals to Region 11 foe Bloom Carroll, ending a solid season for the Ironmen.
As we know, Southeast Ohio is littered with talent, and this year our all-GG team is down to just 22 players. Now, our top 5 were not able to be on this list, so if you're wondering where Jaden Ball or Logan Nicewinger is, that's why. With that being said, let's see our all-GG offense.
First up on our all-GG offense is Fairland Dragons quarterback Peyton Jackson. A 4-year varsity athlete, Jackson has made the Fairland program what it is today. This season, he totaled 2,784 yards and 36 touchdowns, as well as being named the D5 All-District Offensive Player of the Year. Jackson has kept the Fairland offense consistent and is a leader the Dragons will miss next year.
Up next, at the running back position, we have Jace Hurd of the Waverly Tigers. The senior back isn't headlining our all-GG running backs for no reason. This season, he's accumulated over 1,600 yards on the ground, averaging 7.3 yards per carry, and he added 20 touchdowns on top of that. He has solidified himself as the premier back in the SOC and a consistent playmaker for Waverly this season.
Following Jace Hurd is running back number 1 for the Bloom Carroll Bulldogs, none other than Dylan Armentrout. Armentrout put up 1,313 rushing yards on the season, averaging out to a very impressive 7.1 yards per carry with 16 rushing touchdowns. This dog will leave Bloom Carroll with so much to be proud of.
The first wide receiver on the all-GG team is Ironton's Sean Terry. As a junior, Terry became one of the Tigers' main offensive options, having 19 total touchdowns, 525 receiving yards, 391 rushing yards, and averaged almost 20 yards per reception. Terry helped lead Ironton to their 5th straight Ohio Valley Conference title.
Trent Walters gave the Mustangs faithful a season to remember. The wide receiver and defensive back finished the year by leading the SVC in yards, touchdowns, and interceptions. It's no wonder that Walters was nominated to the All-SVC team for his efforts in his senior campaign, as he helped lead Westfall to their best record since 2012.
Up next, let's move to the trenches. MBL standout Cole Davis was the general of Sheridan's offensive line, allowing Sheridan to run for an impressive 232 yards per game en route to a district finals appearance. Davis went on to win Southeast District Lineman of the Year in what was a great senior season for the standout guard.
Next up in the trenches is another big man from the MVL, Tri-Valley Junior Gavin Spiker. Spiker set the edge for the high-flying Scotties offense this year that accounted for 4,314 yards of total offense and 63 touchdowns. He excelled protecting quarterback Max Lyle's blindside and was awarded first-team All-District in the East Region for his efforts.
Adding on to the all-GG offense, we have junior offensive lineman Roman Gilmore from the Eastern Eagles. Gilmore has certainly helped to pave the way for Eastern's offense this season and has protected quarterback Ethan Edwards for over 400 passing yards. He's also helped the Eagles to rush for over 4,000 yards, putting them at the most rushing yards so far in any given season.
Ironton offensive lineman Noah Patterson had a senior season for the ages. Patterson stands at 6'3", 275 pounds, and is a lean, mean, pancaking machine on the offensive side of the ball for the Tigers. Not only does he shine on offense, but the two-way star finished the season with 53 total tackles, including 16 tackles for loss.
Rounding out the offensive line is Vinton County's senior right tackle, Ashton Allman. The big man set the edge for a powerhouse VC rush attack that accounted for nearly 2,900 yards, while averaging 239 a game and adding 39 scores on the ground. Allman's efforts landed him a spot on the Division IV Southeast Ohio All-District First Team.
And last, but certainly not least, we've got tight end Garrett Guess from Miami Trace. The senior had 41 receptions for 515 yards and 9 touchdowns. Guess's success on the gridiron led to first-team All-FAC honors. His innate ability to catch the ball in traffic set him apart from the rest of the field and pushed the Panthers to the second round of the playoffs in a 7-5 record.
Now, of course, we had to keep some great players off this list. This offense is putting up at least 40 points a game on anyone in the state. But what would it look like against our all-GG defense? Well, we'll find out later in the show when we reveal those 11. John Hicks, Dave Remington, and Orlando Pace. 3 offensive linemen that have finished top 5 for the most prestigious award in college football. This year in Southeast Ohio, we were lucky enough to witness an offensive lineman as dominant as any, and he's top 5 for Player of the Year. Reporter Maria Manessi now joins the show to talk with Bloom Carroll's finest, left tackle Jaden Ball.
Grayson, Jaden Ball has been a key piece for Bloom Carroll all season long. He put up big-time numbers for the Bulldogs, including 104 pancakes and 0 sacks allowed. Jaden, welcome to the show. We are so happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you have seen so much success at Bloom Carroll over the past 4 years. What has being a part of the program meant to you and the senior class?
It's meant a lot to us, just seeing the guys ahead of us, just setting down a solid foundation for us to work on and get better every single year.
Yeah, and you had a brand new offensive line coming into this season. How did you adjust to those changes, and how did you see the team grow throughout the season?
So yeah, having a younger offensive line this year, we knew we had to get the young guys that weren't really experienced the training to get to where they needed to be for Friday nights.
Yeah, and what do you think separates you from other players?
Just the effort I give on every single play. I just never quit. It's my main goal.
And then what would winning this award mean to you?
It'd mean a lot to me, just a guy at my position, just getting the chance to win an award.
Yeah, Jaden, thank you so much for being here and good luck in your future.
Thank you.
So before getting to our next Player of the Year interview, 2 of our finalists came from the same conference, which led to an exciting 10 weeks. Stephen Crowley gives us the MVL Small Division recap.
The Crooksville Ceramics finished in last place with an 0-5 conference record. After 2 winless seasons, Crooksville started 3-0 in out-of-conference play for the first time in 10 years and have a promising young core returning. The Meadowbrook Colts finished 5th with a 1-4 conference record. The back-to-back MVL Small Champions in 2020 and 2021 provided 9 All-District players this year. The Coshocton Redskins finished 4th with a 2-3 conference record. Coshocton ran the ball exceptionally well this season. The phenomenal Coshocton rushing attack was led by first-team All-District running backs Israel Rice and Riley Woody. 2022 conference champs, the New Lexington Panthers, finished 3rd with a 3-2 conference record. 4 players from New Lexington were named first-team All-District, which is the second most first-team selections in the conference. Logan Neiswanger led the Morgan Raiders to a second-place conference finish with a 4-1 conference record. The Raiders also made state playoffs for the 6th time in program history, but were eliminated in the first round. Finally, the West Muskingum Tornadoes finished first in the MVL Small School Conference in 2023. The Tornadoes went undefeated in conference play with a 5-0 record. Rashid Sasay led West Muskingum with over 2,000 total yards and over 40 touchdowns.
Morgan Raiders might have fallen short in the running for the MVL title, but Logan Neiswanger did everything he could and then some, being the best quarterback in our coverage. Tim Hanna is here to interview the star signal caller.
Grayson, this kid put up some of the best numbers in Southeast Ohio this year from under center. He had 3,143 yards of total offense and 42 touchdowns, placing him second all-time in single-season touchdowns in MVL history. Joining us now in studio is senior quarterback Logan Niswonger. Logan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Logan, you're one of the senior leaders on this team. Tell us a little bit about your leadership style.
Yeah, I just go in and try to set the example first off, and I model a lot of my game. I said that at the interview or whatever, but I model my game after Tim Tebow a lot, so that's what I try to model my game after.
So do you model your game or your leadership style, or kind of a mixture of both?
A mixture of both, really, because he was kind of a power quarterback, so I try to take that mentality too.
Absolutely. You and Cole Searle were a lethal combination this year, giving MVL defenses all kinds of trouble. Talk about that connection that the two of you share.
Yeah, so me and him grew up together. We're pretty much like brothers, and it just kind of showed that on the field. Just we were both on the same page, knowing what route he's running. Just kind of that brotherhood, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. And what would this winning this Player of the Year award mean for you and your community?
It'd mean a lot. It'd mean a lot for the community, and all the community support. It's been amazing, and I'd be honored to do that for Morgan.
Absolutely. Well, Logan, thank you for joining us, and good luck on your future endeavors.
Thank you.
The Twin State League was brand new this year, and with it only having 4 teams in its inaugural year, it led to a crazy finish at the end of the season. So lead reporter Peyton Burke is here to take us through it all.
Thanks, Grayson. The first season of the Twin State League had a lot of promise for the 4 inaugural members. All of them had their moments for them on their Friday nights to make an impact on the field.
Starting with the Marietta Tigers, they finished with a record of 5-6 for the year, making it to the first round of the playoffs. Tigers were led by senior running backs Jared Whittakin and Junior Smith, having impressive wins over Meggs and Warren. The Warren Warriors had some ups and downs this season with a 4-6 record. The Warriors were led by wide receiver Tanner Peppers, who had 814 yards receiving and will be back for the next 2 seasons as they chase for a winning record. The Fort Prairie Cadets finished with a final season record of 10-3, making it all the way to the regional semifinals. Star players Graham Baker and Brendan Riddle graduating, the Cadets will be looking towards running back Clayton Miller, as he has 11 rushing yards with 969 to reload for future games to come. And finally, Point Pleasant finished with a final record of 5-5. The unfortunately were unable to make the playoffs as Point Pleasant was led this season by running back Nate Bentz. Head coach David Darce will hope to make it to the West Virginia State playoffs next season.
So let's talk Coach of the Year. All 5 of our candidates won at least 9 games this year, so this race was down to the wire and contentious within the Gridiron staff. And before we welcome him onto the stage, features reporter Dylan Westmeyer joins us one final time.
Grayson, I was able to sit down with this coach, and man, it was an interview. I drove 40 minutes down US 50 to learn about the man who changed the program for the better.
What wins games? What wins championships? Okay, so let's work on it, Landon. You got it? Got it, Eli? Got it, Owen? Okay, let's be great.
TJ Carper has been in the game of football his entire life, playing for Graham High School in Virginia, then taking his talents to Marshall University. After college, Carper wasted no time and began his coaching career at Cabal Midland as a coordinator in 2014. Now at Vinton County, Coach Carper led his 2023 team to a 9-1 regular season record, won the TVC Ohio title, its first since 1999, and they earned a berth into the playoffs. Ever since high school, Carper knew coaching was in his future, and he credits that to a short yet very impactful relationship.
Our head coach, my junior year, he passed away. Coach Carlock passed away in the middle of the season, and I just remember, it was the toughest time for me. You know what I mean? Just really tough for me because I believed in him so much. Like he was just like a father figure to me. I think that in high school I knew that I wanted to be a coach.
That fatherly figure is what Coach Carper wanted to be to his players, becoming a home away from home.
I think having Coach Carper as a head coach is kind of like having an extra dad. I ain't gonna lie, I said being away from home, I spend many hours away from my family, but I really don't at the same time. TJ is always right there for me. If I have any questions, he's always right there asking me. I even went to dinner at his house many of times because I didn't go home. He's not just a coach.
Coach Carper's impact on this team has not only been on the field. Carper has impacted his players' lives for the better.
So now we welcome the man himself, head coach of the Vinton County Vikings, TJ Carper. So here you go. There's your award there.
Thank you.
And first, congratulations, first of all.
Yeah, man,
and
appreciate it.
I want to talk about week 9. So you got over the hump, you were able to beat Nelsonville York, and you climbed that mountain. You won the first TVC title for Vinton County since 1999. What did that mean to you and the program?
Man, you know, it meant a lot. It meant a lot to me, you know, just finally getting over the hump. You know, it meant a lot to our program. It's a program winning win right there, you know, whenever you beat somebody that's been on top for, you know, a long time. You know, you kind of start to see yourself in a position to where you can do a lot more things with your program and in the future and with the younger guys coming up.
Yeah, so in that package we just saw, Ashton Altman, he called you his second dad. What does that really mean to you?
Man, you know, this program is about family. You know, it's, you know, we take care of each other. We love each other up. You know, when in time of need, you know, we're always there for each other. You know, so, I mean, I go out of my way to try to, you know, help each and every one of the kids that's in the program. And my coaches do the same thing, you know, so. I mean, my wife, you know, we welcome everybody into our home. We welcome all of our players into our home. We feed them every Thursday. You know, it's they're just like one of ours, you know, and I love each and every one of those guys.
Yeah, so what is some advice you would give to a younger coach trying to have the success that you've had?
You know, just be patient. You know, don't look at it from, you know, the top, trying to be at the top. So right now, you know, just give it some time, you know, work, grind, do the right things, you know, hire good staff. You know, I got a couple of my staff members here today, you know, that really helped me, you know, the best in the business, you know, so just make sure that you're always doing the right things and just to be patient and move at your own pace. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry about, you know, the social media gurus out there or whatever, you know, don't the hype. I say whatnot, but you know, just keep pressing, do the right things.
Yeah, Coach, thanks so much for being here. Congratulations again.
That.
Dylan made a longer highlight package highlighting the great things that Coach Carper has done at Vinton County, so stay tuned to our YouTube channel to see that. Also, stay tuned to the rest of our social medias this weekend for even more highlights, more photos, and everything. All social medias will be sparsely active throughout the off-season, so do not miss out. And as always, head over to woub.org/gridiron for our written content. The long-living Ohio Valley Conference added another page to its story this season. So OVC lead reporter Lucy Schaefer will walk us through it together from top to bottom.
The 11-2 Ironton Fighting Tigers sit at the top of the conference. This was Ironton's last season in the OVC before going independent, and the Tigers will notably be returning quarterback Braden Schreck and receiver Sean Terry. The Fairland Dragons follow at 9-2 overall and 6-1 in conference. The Dragons played under first-year head coach Mike Jackson. Quarterback Peyton Jackson and receiver Bryson Hunt led the team and are players the Dragons will miss next year. Next up, the 9-3 Gallia Academy Blue Devils. Gallia found their groove under several senior leaders, but with these individuals graduating in the spring, the team will be under new player leadership next season. The Portsmouth Trojans placed fourth with a 6-6 overall and 4-3 conference record. Portsmouth highlighted their season with a 50-38 win over Fairland in the playoffs. Coming in at fifth are the 5-6 South Point Pointers, who made it to the playoffs this year for the first time since 2020. The Pointers have been dominant in the run game all season, powered by seniors Eli Wilburn and Blaine Freeman. Rock Hill finished at 4-7 overall and 2-5 in conference play, with notable wins from Cole Grove and Chesapeake. Cole Grove finished 4-7 and 1-6, still rebuilding after the loss of running back Chase Hall. And rounding out the OVC are the Chesapeake Panthers at 3-7 overall and 0-7 in OVC matchups. The Panthers struggled defensively, allowing an average of 31 points per game. They will also be losing senior receiver Cameron Shockley.
So now we'll move to our second of 3 games in the Wheelersburg Pirates. The Berg played the Harvest Prep Warriors in mid-September, and after that loss, they rattled off 6 straight wins. SOC savant Aiden Crowley is back one final time to talk Berg football.
Oh man, that hurts, Grayson, but let's make it count. As I mentioned in Week 6, these Warriors are the Grim Reaper in Region 19, especially for Berg. Prep has sunk the Pirates 2 straight years, but tonight a regional title was up for grabs. In 2021, Berg sailed in high after its iconic upset win over Ironton, and the Pirates jumped out to a 17-7 lead early, but the Warriors rallied back in the second half to sink the Pirates 20-17. 1 year later, and it was deja vu. Berg secured a 21-13 lead at the half, but once again, Harvest Prep stormed back in the last 30 minutes to take down the Pirates 25-21. This year, the Pirates are rolling in with the big guns. Berg has won 6 straight games and have outscored opponents 220-27 in that stretch. So will the Pirates finally plunder the Pirates? Let's find out. Now, we already know what's on the line, Grayson, and you see it. It's that regional championship trophy that Berg hasn't lifted since 2018. So you know this team was going to come out firing. On the opening kickoff, the Pirates, they decide to keep it on the ground, and hey, it pays off. The Warriors have trouble fielding it, and Riley Cunningham comes away with it. Berg couldn't find points on that possession, and that set the tone for the rest of the game. On the ensuing drive, Lenny Wicks Jr., he's going to go 20 yards untouched for the game's first score, 8-0 Warriors. Later in the half, and we already know this, Desmond Porter is a problem. He rumbles into the end zone from 3 yards out, and even his teammates, they're going to bounce off of him. 14-0 at the break. And finally, for the nail in the coffin, it's Wicks again, blowing out the candle on the Pirates season with his second score of the game, and it's the third straight season Prep sinks the Pirates 22-0. And Grayson, this insane run from this Pirates team is finally coming to a close.
Yeah, and the Berg was shut out for the first time this season. What happened on offense?
Yeah, Grayson, I'm going to be honest with you. These linebackers for Harvest Prep, they were fast. They were getting downhill quickly, and the offensive line from Wheelersburg, they weren't able to get to the second level, and that was a problem. They also put the ball on the ground 3 times. They recovered 2 of those fumbles, but that just can't be the standard against Harvest Prep.
Yeah, so despite the offense struggling for Berg, the defense continued to battle tonight.
Absolutely, Grayson. They turned Harvest Prep over 3 times, including 2 interceptions. They gave their offense great field position and an opportunity to score the football. Like I mentioned, they just weren't clicking on that side of the ball, and that led to some problems in the final score that you saw.
Yeah, so this season comes to a close for the Pirates. Talk a little bit about the senior class for Berg.
Yeah, they're losing a lot of star players, and when speaking with Coach Rob Woodward after the game, a lot of these guys took a lot of the younger guys under their wing to build up this program. And like I mentioned, I spoke with Rob Woodward after the game. Here's what he had to say about the legacy of this team and this season.
Very few people expect us to be here, but we knew we could do this. We knew we are capable of being a regional contending team, but our kids got themselves here. And that's what they've got to understand. They got themselves into this position to be able to play for regional championship.
And Rob Woodward, he's always a pleasure to talk to, and he couldn't be more proud of the way his team fought this season.
Yeah, Aiden, thanks for the great work on covering the game, but you're not quite done yet. Jeffrey Bishop is a human highlight reel with the ball in his hands on offense, and he gets it done on the defensive side of the ball as well. He's our next candidate for Player of the Year.
Like Grayson mentioned, I get the honor to speaking with Jeffrey Bishop, who joins us in the studio. And Jeffrey, just thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. We're going to start with this. We saw in the highlights there was a lot of big plays. The PA announcer at Portsmouth West calls you big-time Bishop. What do you think when the ball's in your hands?
Every time I get the ball, my idea is to score, obviously. But, yeah, it's a blessing for the coaches and to give me the ball to trust me to make plays for my team. So, yeah.
Absolutely, and a lot of those plays led to wins for this Portsmouth team. You and this group that you've come up with has really changed the perception of Portsmouth West. Have you thought anything about the legacy of this group in winning at Portsmouth West?
Yeah, we take pride from where we're from. We're hard-nosed football, and we really take pride on what we do. And the legacy we leave, the past 2 years, it's been great for our community. So I'm really pleased with what we did the past 2 years for our community.
Absolutely, and if people don't know, there's always kids lined on the sidelines at the Rock. When you're playing and you see those guys, those little kids who you obviously are leaving an impact on, what do you think about your personal legacy on the program?
It feels amazing, like, you know, to have those little kids look up to me and be like, hey, I want to be like Jeffrey Bishop when I'm older. It's like, it just feels amazing to be able to be that guy that people looks up to.
Yeah, and then last one for you. You've heard it with the other guys, but what would this award mean for you personally?
It would mean a lot to be able to win this award, not just for me, but for my team and my community and also my family. So it will mean a lot to win this award.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for coming on, but that's all the time we have. We'll send it back to Grayson.
Jeffrey Bishop and Portsmouth West weren't able to defend their crown as Southern Ohio Conference champions, but they still had an incredible season along with the rest of the SOC too. Reporter Donovan Varney takes us through that season recap.
For the 36th time in school history, your SOC champs were none other than the Wheelersburg Pirates. This Pirates team was able to add another trophy to the shelf by straight dominating conference opponents. They outscored SOC teams 217-14 en route to their title. The runner-up, Portsmouth West, was led by GG Player of the Year candidate Jeffrey Bishop. The Senators will look to stay at the top of the conference as new talent emerges. At third place is the Waverly Tigers. The Tigers will retire All-GG running back Jace Hurd and look to build off of the connection of receiver Cody Swords and QB Mason Kelly as they chase an SOC title. Next, we'll hit on the Minford Falcons. Led by star running back Jeff Picka, the Falcons finished with a 5-5 record. They'll hope to see quarterback Peyton Caudill take a leap next season as they'll try to sharpen up against conference opponents. Now taking a look at the full conference standings for the SOC, the Valley Indians take 4th place. After losing the first 5 games of the season, they showed promise in the latter half, going 3-3. And finally, the Northwest Mohawks and Oak Hill Oaks fall to the bottom of the pack. They'll look to recover from tough seasons and get back on their feet next year.
We had some incredible defensive highlights this year because of some incredible defensive players, but only 11 were able to crack our list this year for the All-GG defensive team.
Season as one of the co-defensive players of the year in the East District for Division 6. He recorded a total of 46 tackles, 6 sacks, and 18 tackles for loss as he was a leader on both sides of the ball. Baker's leadership led the defense towards the Cadets' 10-win season and another regional semifinals appearance.
The next All-Gridiron Glory defensive lineman is Ironton tackle Aiden Lane. Lane applied pressure for the Fighting Tigers all season long and played a huge part in Ironton's 11-2 record. He got the job done on both the offensive and defensive lines and finished his successful junior season with 23 solo tackles, 105 total tackles, 6.5 sacks, and 3.6 tackles a game.
To the outside of Lane stands the pioneer, Spencer Bauer. With 102 total tackles, he ensured his opponents had a consistent force to worry about from inside of the line. He was constantly in the backfield, generating 7 sacks and 6 tackles for loss, and made his presence felt in the turnover game, racking up 2 fumble recoveries and 3 blocked punts to wrap up a great senior season.
Rounding out the All-Gridiron Glory defensive line is Wheelersburg's own Elijah Brown. He was a menace to SOC offenses all year. Wheelersburg has one of the best defenses in our coverage, recording 5 shutouts this season. Elijah Brown stood out as an anchor to the squad, recording 66 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and a recovery.
Next up is Brandon Oldacre, and he has been a force for the Eastern Eagles this season. The Eagles linebacker has registered 122 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 12 forced fumbles, 6 sacks, 3 batted passes, and 1 interception. These numbers are just the beginning for Oldacre as he has led his team defensively to a 9-1 record, holding opponents to an average of 13.5 points in the Eagles' first ever regional final in program history.
Joining Brandon Oldacre in the All-Gridiron Glory defensive first team is Nelsonville York's Gavin Richards. Richards racked up 202 total tackles, 2 interceptions, 4 fumbles, and 2 recoveries, as well as 22 touchdowns. Richards helped lead the Buckeyes to an 8-4 season and a first-round playoff victory at home against Bel Air.
Next up is Wheelersburg linebacker Jake Darling. Darling was a terror for OVC offenses all year, racking up 91 total tackles, along with forcing 3 fumbles and recovering 2 of them. The Division V Southeast District Defensive Player of the Year has been a huge reason for the Pirates' defensive success, and he has played a monumental role in their run to the regional finals.
Senior linebacker Tristan Bridge led the Bulldogs defense with 138 total tackles and 5 sacks. Bridge's ability to run from sideline to sideline across the field displayed his effort to be a part of every single tackle, leaving no doubt that he was awarded First Team MSL Buckeye, First Team All-Central District, and finally, All-GG.
Leading off for the defensive backs, we have Cade Cutright. The junior was a ball hawk, intercepting 7 passes on the season for the Shermans. Cutright also played both sides of the ball, pouring in 655 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns. He was named an all-SVC first-team selection at defensive back.
Next up for our all-GG defense is Gallia Academy senior Kenyon Franklin. Franklin was a strong defensive force for the Blue Devils. He picked up 31 tackles, 4 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. And he wasn't just a threat on defense. On offense, Franklin picked up 1,341 yards on the season and helped lead his team to a successful 9-3 record.
Last but certainly not least is Eastern's junior Gavin Murphy. This Eagle tallied up 91 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles. You don't want to see this guy line up across from you. Murphy also has 7 batted passes, the Eagles' only blocked kick, and he has stolen the rock from opponents 5 times so far this season.
So that is our list. As we said, we had so many great defensive players, so it was tough to keep anyone out, but I'm taking these 11 against anyone in the state. Scioto Valley Conference was crazy this year. There was a 3-team round robin at the top that all played out in the last 3 weeks of the season and gave us one of our head Coach of the Year candidates. Charlie Ehlenfeld has more on the SVC.
For Unioto, the Sherman Tanks took home their first SVC title and Golden Ball trophy since 1981 behind SVC Offensive Player of the Year, Newton Hoops, co-SVC Lineman of the Year, Jordan Perkins, SVC Special Teams Player of the Year, Ashton Grace, and SVC Coach of the Year, Matt Hoops, en route to a 9-2 record. At Zane Trace, the Pioneers steered through early season adversity to string together an impressive season behind first-year head coach Dylan Wares. Despite not reclaiming the title, Zane Trace finished with an 8-4 record with a home playoff victory. Spencer Brower claimed the SVC Defensive Lineman of the Year. In Paint Valley, a young Bearcat squad vied for the top of the conference and managed a playoff victory of their own alongside an 8-4 campaign. Peyton Bell earned the other half of the co-SVC Offensive Lineman of the Year, and Braylon Robertson earned SVC Defensive Back of the Year. For Westfall, the Mustangs surprised the conference with their explosive offense, which propelled them to their first playoff berth since 2013 and best record since 2012 at 6-5. In Piketon, looking to get back to the top of the conference, the Red Streaks had a strong start to the season as they won their first 4 games, but sputtered to finish 6-4 and missed the playoffs. In Adena, despite having their 4th coach in 4 years, Adena made strides under first-year head coach Doug Miller. For Huntington, after their first playoff game in school history last season, the Huntsmen were unable to match last season's efforts, finishing 1-9. For Southeastern, the Panthers have just 3 wins in their last 4 seasons and are still searching for their first conference win under the leadership of head coach Garrett Blair.
I've crowned so many Fan of the Weeks, but the problem with talking to all the fans I do is that we have to cut out some of them. And so now that we're at the final episode, here are some of our favorites that just missed the cut first time around.
I'm here with the class of 1890. What do we think about the game tonight?
A movie.
So can you explain the jersey here?
It's a movie from 1986 called Do the Right Thing.
And you're Sal's Pizzeria or something?
I'm a worker for Sal's Pizzeria called Mookie.
Called Mookie. Gotcha.
I'll look him up.
Okay. Do you look like Mookie?
Not at all.
He's got the Steph Curry background.
Yep, obviously. Push it.
All right. What's your name?
Addie Durant.
Addie. Who's your favorite player on the team?
Probably my ex-boyfriend.
She specifically asked me to ask her that question.
No, I didn't.
Yep.
Our offensive line.
What's that move called?
A move.
Is that your touchdown celebration? Then what was the jump? Can I get like a cartwheel or something? Oh. There's one. There's 2. Oh, that was good. Is she about to do a back handspring? Is that what it's called? That was impressive. I think they're Sheridan's #1 fans. What do you think about the forward pass? Yeah, not my football, right? Yeah, I agree.
Fan of the Week is my favorite part of every Friday. The show is stressful, nerve-wracking. When I'm out of games, it's loose, it's fun. So I want to send a huge thank you to everyone I've talked to this year. Before heading into our final game of the night, we have to take a look at the final conference we covered this year. The Muskingum Valley Conference Big Division was once again dominated by the 2 teams at the top. We saw him earlier. Tim Hanna takes us through the MVL Big.
The MVL Big School Division saw a familiar face hoisting the conference title again this year. The Tri-Valley Scotties captured their 7th MVL title in the last 10 years. At the helm of their high-flying offense were juniors Max Lyle and Jaden Wallace. Look for the Scotties to continue their dominance next year as 8 of their 12 all-district players were juniors this year. The Sheridan Generals finished 2nd in the MVL Big School Division, but made their way to the regional finals in Division 4, Region 15. The John Glenn Little Muskies re-entered the mix at the top of the MVL Big with an 8-2 finish this season. They had 13 players selected for the all-district team. Maysville finished the year 4-6, including ending the year on a 2-game win streak. The Panthers had 5 players selected for the all-district team. Philo started off the year strong but couldn't find their footing late in the season. The Electrics had 9 players selected for the All-District team, including junior quarterback Talon Preston. The Riverview Black Bears were unable to get into the win column this season after scoring just 24 points all season. Wyatt Weiss and Kydron Snow were both selected with second-team All-District honors this year.
So now we move into the game, and even though the Sheridan Generals fell short of a conference title, they still managed to make it all the way to Week 14. But did they advance to the state semi? Well, MVL maestro Bryce Tinson is back in studio, and Bryce, tell me about the Red Rage.
Grayson, I've got a stat for you. The Generals haven't scored first in 3 of their last 4 games, but they've won all of them. To figure out why that is, I talked to Coach Culver at practice this week, and he says it's because of the seniors.
Clapped hands with the teams that have run in here before, and they see those teams exhibit toughness, not just the physical toughness, but the mental toughness. We have posters hanging in our locker room, and one of the words is poise. That kind of, when the crap hits the fan, like, we're okay. When Caden Sheridan, AJ Winters, Cole Davis, Justin Munyon start looking each other in the eyes, they know somebody's going to make a play, and they trust the coaches, and we trust them.
Rainy night in the battle for the S. Steubenville first drive, 4th and goal from the 4. Aiden Manning rolls right, looks back. He finds AJ Winters for the pick. Man, this man has been in his Duffy the entire playoffs. That's his 4th straight game with an INT. Generals go 3 and out. It's a bad punt, and the Big Red started at +25. This is 4th and 4. Jalen Minifield stuffed. That is Red Rage football, baby. That Steubenville defense, though, gets the ball right back, and this time they're going to do some damage. Minifield, he finds Green, and he's gone before you even blink. That speed is different. 7-0 Big Red, and make that 4 out of the last 5 that Sheridan fails to score first. Generals need to get something going on offense. And can someone tell me, is that Caden Sheridan or Harry Houdini back there? How in the world does he get out of this mess? He uncorks it. Oh, and the catch from Bryson Ruff. That is amazing. You gotta let the man finish what he started. Sheridan puts his head down. He crosses the plane. We got a tie game going into half, but more defense in the second. And Steubenville delivers the final blow, winning 14-7 in that 4th quarter.
So the final score caught me off guard a little bit. Both these offenses have been on a tear lately. What did you see tonight?
A lot of penalties. It was an egregious amount of penalties, if I do say so myself. I mean, we're talking about 30 plus. Steubenville had 4 consecutive plays for the penalty. Sheridan had 3. It was mostly pre-snap stuff, so infractional stuff that you really gets you behind the sticks early. You saw a lot of 3rd and longs today.
Yeah, was there anything special the Big Red defense did to stop the Hot General offense?
Grayson, I'm going to be honest, they were just faster. Sheridan's offense is really designed to get you moving horizontal so they can slip in beside or behind them. No, there was nothing there. It was all that speed that Steubenville has that they're not really accustomed to seeing.
Yeah, so obviously tonight was a tough loss, but overall it was a great season for Sheridan. Looking ahead, what's the outlook?
Honestly, Grayson, it's going to be tough. They got 19 seniors leaving, and among the guys, Coach mentioned them in his side, it was Caden Sheridan, it was Justin Munyon, it was AJ Winters, it was Cole Davis. They're going to be tough guys to replace. They're going to have to find it somewhere. They want to get back on top of the MVL. This is one of the best seasons in a storied history. That's something to be proud of for the Generals.
Yeah, and Bryce, you had it the whole way. Thanks so much for your great work. And like Aiden, you're not quite done yet. Rashid Cisse took the MVL Small by storm at a school we don't typically attribute dominance to. The West Muskingum Tornado is the last finalist for our Player of the Year.
Thank you for making the trip out here tonight. Rashid, how are you feeling tonight?
Oh, I'm feeling great. It's an honor to be here. A lot of good players, and to be here means a lot.
So you wear the number 3. Is there a reason why? Is there a special meaning behind that number?
Oh, yeah, actually. About a decade ago, Shea Hurd, he played for West Muskingum, and he was a really good receiver, really good guy. He unfortunately passed away in a car accident. And the number 3 was retired for, since. And when we got it, I asked our athletic trainer, AJ, he was good friends with him, if I could represent him. And each night, when I wear the number, I'm playing for him, and I'm playing for the person he was.
That's a great story. So when I say you're one of the greatest MVO players that we've ever seen, how does that feel to hear that?
It feels, a little surreal still. To just see all the hard work that not only me but my team has, paid off, because in order, to have that label, you have to have a team around you. It just really shows the hard work we put in and how dedicated we were.
Can you break down that record-breaking touchdown? I know we talked about it a little bit, but that interception was something else.
Yeah, so my coach, defensive coordinator, walking into school in the morning, he's telling me, that RPO, when they throw to the tight end, you can pick that. If you take that back, I'm going to freak out. And I told him, I'm going to do it. Very first time they ran it, I saw exactly what was coming. I just knew I had to time it up. Timed it up perfectly, just jumped in there, lucky catch, I guess. And then just realized I could take it back, and then I did. So really memorable play forever.
Rashid, it's been a great season for you. Thank you so much for coming out. Grayson, back to you.
Yeah, so now before we crown our player of the year, let's go through our top 10 plays of the year. And I know we missed a lot of plays, but these are the top 10 plays that we're seeing on our cameras. So we start at number 10, and Jason Jackson goes into his bag of tricks. It's going to be running back Riley Barrett throwing this one up for Gavin Murphy, who goes up and comes down with the spectacular catch inside the 5-yard line and a little first down signal for good measure. She's a beauty, that number 9, and it's Jacob Seeley, who absolutely drops this first Morgan defender. Then he'll run another one into a blocker, and now he's off to the races, and he will beat number 2 to the pylon. That's 6 for the Warriors. Now to the MVO, where Caden Sheridan throws the dump-off pass to Justin Munyon. Defender goes low, and he goes high. Hurdles a man. He's going to point at the camera and say, yeah, that's just me. Now, number 7 has been in the intro all year, and I never get tired of seeing it. Blake Phillips goes scorched earth. My guy will not be denied a chance at the end zone once he sees the red paint. He's built different. Number 6 is the first of 2 Cade Wolford highlights. His brother Bodie just says here, hey, you go Cade, you go get it like we're in the backyard. And of course, number 8 is going to come down with it, even with the defender draped all over him. Now, number 5 is that play Rashid was just talking about. Watch him jump out of the gym for this interception. And oh yeah, like he said, he's going to take it back for 6. This was the play that set the new NBL record for touchdowns. Here's a slow-mo replay for good measure. Yeah, he's got bunnies. Now, Kenyon Franklin is a DB for our All-GG list, but he was making these type of plays on offense. As the great Caleb McCleskey would say, that's barbecue chicken. I talked about the Blake Phillips run earlier, but this is my favorite mean run of the year. Jaden Wallace is going to take on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 Sheridan tacklers. And if it wasn't for this shoestring tackle, he takes it into the end zone. He's coming back next year too. At number 2, it's Cade Wolford highlight number 2. Runs the double move and then catches the football right on the defender's head, and he's going to waltz into the end zone on that Wheelersburg defense. And finally, the number 1 play of the year is Scary Terry. Sean Terry of Ironton, who's going to reverse field on this slant. Watch this. 1, 2, skip the loo, spins out of 2 tackles, spins out of another, and how about one more spin for good measure? He's a junior. He might be sitting here in the Final 5 next fall. So I picked those plays personally. So if you have anything to say, let me know. Let's be honest, I probably missed a play or 2, but I'm standing firm on that Sean Terry play. Best of the year. Enough waiting around. Now is the time for the main event, the player of the year. So the winner of the 2023 Gridiron Glory Player of the Year is, excuse me, sorry, Cade Wolford of Jackson. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
First off, congratulations. Make sure that's not in your face there. You'll keep it right there in the middle. Perfect. All right, so what is this feeling like after having a season that you did?
It's very surreal to be up here. We have 4 other great players here today too, so I really just want to give thanks to my teammates, my coaches, and just all the support around Jackson, all the fans, everybody that voted for me. It's a great moment.
Yeah, so speaking of Jackson, winning this award at a program like that, it's got to be extra special. What kind of impact do you think this has on Jackson?
Yeah, football runs deep in Jackson, so to bring this award back for the Ironman is definitely a special thing.
Yeah, so what do you want to tell all the kids that are looking up to you and saying, man, I want to be Gridiron Glory Player of the Year one day?
Yeah, it's really just a lot of hard work. You know, football for me is year-round, so I work very hard in the off-season. To have the success that I do during the season, you got to put in work during the off-season.
Yeah. Kate, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. I appreciate
Congratulations
it.
once again.
Yes, sir.
Now that brings us to the end of our show and the end of our season. 91 days ago, I said I was going to be the captain of this ship. But before we get to that, we're going to show one more Cade Wolford package for good measure. And that brings us to the end of our show and end of our season. 91 days ago, I said I was going to be the captain of this ship, directing us through the treacherous waters of Southeast Ohio football, and we've made it. We have docked at the other side of the sea. I want to thank everyone that made it happen. Players, coaches, parents, fans, and everyone else in between that makes Friday nights at each of these schools what it is. So, for the last time, as the Season 24 host, Gridiron Glory host, I want to remind you that there is nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.